This week on Storyboard, we are catching up with Susan Credle, FCB Global Chair and Global Chief Creative Officer, and Tina Allan, FCB Global Partner, Head of Data Science and Connections, on their recent visit to India. And we are also speaking with Group M's APAC CEO Ashutosh Srivastava on his visit to the WPP campus in Mumbai. Hello and welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shibani Gharat. After 2 years of being in a lockdown, as we move towards resuming our normal lives, business travel has also started picking up as global leaders fly down to take stock of the India market. First up, we have Susan Credle, FCB Global Chair and Global Chief Creative Officer, and Tina Allan, FCB Global Partner, Head of Data Science and Connections, join Ankita Saxena in a candid chat on the sidelines of their trip to India. They speak about their new roles post the departure of FCB's global CEO Carter Murray, and how has creativity fueled by data changed post the pandemic and the impact of inflation on their strategies. Listen in.
Hi Susan, hi Tina, welcome to Storyboard and welcome back to India.
Thank you so much.
Susan, I met you in 2019, I mean it was 2 years back, You're back now, and between 2019 and 2022, so much has passed, and congratulations on your new role. So tell us, post Carter's departure, what is going to be in the roadmap for FCB, and how are you going to steer it through your partnership with Tyler?
Well, I was really fortunate that when I joined in 2016, Carter said, come help me write the story of FCB as it should be today. And so that was such an incredible partnership and journey. And we did a lot of work that we didn't know was really preparing us to get through the pandemic. So we really concentrated on designing a point of view, getting collectively around the world, like what do we want to do, what do we feel is going to get this agency to the next level, or quite frankly turn it around. And we bet on creativity. That was our North Star, is creative. The creative will set us free, it will make us viable in this new market. So what I love about Carter is that he is a turnaround champion, and I would say that his superpower is he makes you believe you're better than you ever thought you could be, and in that belief you actually step up. So grateful to him. But it's interesting, once you turn around a company, you shift into the next chapter, which is sort of sustaining and being a little bit more intentional. And so with Tyler, we've been kind of doing our road tour that we actually been able to do since about January, and it's been really interesting to look and see what's sticking around the world and what people are leaning into, because really that's the we put all of these thinking tools into place and these benchmarking ways of holding ourselves accountable. And now it's kind of seeing what's working, what's not.
Right. It's interesting, Susan, that you mentioned you're seeing the things that are sticking and the things that are changing. In these last 2 years of the pandemic, there were so many new consumer behaviors that were formed and which are likely to continue, like the kind of boost that digital saw or e-commerce. So what is your advice to your clients how to navigate through this dynamic landscape?
Well, I think the first thing I would say is COVID was a catalyst to a lot of great change. And I've had a lot of clients, and I would say that FCB is the same, which is that we did in 2 years what probably without the push of COVID would have taken 5 to 10.
Right.
And both on our behavior changing and people's behaviors changing. So it's really fun because things that were latent and you felt like, this is going to take a long time for everybody to catch up, suddenly we're just like, whew, forward, and we're using technology in smart ways. So what I would advise clients is, do not think of your behavior as a COVID behavior. Think of your behavior as getting to the new behavior faster.
Okay.
So, learn lessons from COVID. Don't go back to where we were.
Right. In your new role as the head of data science and connections, what is your vision for FCB? How do you hope to marry data with creativity?
Well, the good news is, to pivot a little bit, but exactly what Susan's been saying is that vision has been laid out. So we're not changing anything different. Our brand bedrock has always been fueled by data, technology, and diversity all along. So I think what this just gives as a global partner is the ability to accelerate. And that's really what we're focusing on. I think clients are looking for building brand value and building their business. And I think to Susan's point is everything with the consumer is speeding up. It's going from brand to buy, and really you need to focus on both. So I think in bringing data to this, we're very more focused not only on the consumer, but on the business and the brand, and we don't choose. We're delivering on all of that for our clients.
I think it's important what Tina's talking about is we say data fuels our creativity. Right. So one of the things that's a little danger, watch out for data is, I had a client say, I've got all the data in the world, I just don't know what to do with it. So within FCB, the data is to fuel creativity. And creativity doesn't just mean like an ad. It means creative thinking, problem solving through the lens of what the data is telling us.
Tina, in these last 2 years, if there was any silver lining that the pandemic showed us, was probably the boost it gave to technology, innovation, digital. What are your challenges and what are the opportunities that you're seeing?
Well, let's start with opportunities first. Susan likes to say I'm very energetic and positive. I think where we can look at right now is there is so much availability of data. And I think, how do we harness that? Because everything is very quick. And what I like to put is like, what are we doing now, next, and future? How do we not just think in the moment, but how are we always forward thinking with what we have? And then I think what excites me even of where we are right now in this market is, as we look at India and where we are, what are the opportunities in a very mobile first world? How can we use this opportunity to leapfrog everything we've known before? And with the ability to bring data, it allows us to test and learn. And we at FCB like to say we're brave together. It gives us that ability with the data, fueling that creative, to understand and test and learn.
Susan, what are clients really looking for in the global market vis-a-vis the Indian market?
Well, we were talking about this earlier, that as we sit here in India, and Tina just, said it very well, which is that you can see the mobile market is going to teach us what mobile can do. And we were saying earlier, Malcolm Gladwell has this phrase, don't be first, be third. And what we're hearing a lot is that there was not a lot of first in India when it came to mobile. So everybody else did the dirty work of trying to figure out what is mobile, how does it work. And now India can just come in and go, we got the audience, we've got the mobile. I mean, all you have to do is ride down the street, and there's a mobile in every single person's hand. So I think we'll be learning a lot from the opportunities and the impact of rethinking how mobile is used. I also think that one of the things that is important in India that we're seeing also in North America is diverse mass versus general market, which is how do you, we're not going to look at India as one India, right? We have to look at it as a diverse mass. And what's beautiful about technology and data is that we weren't capable of being able to do diverse mass. Today we can, and that's exciting.
Right. Susan, it's interesting that you mentioned how you're gauging how mobile is changing the landscape. I remember meeting you 2 years back, and we did speak about this. You mentioned that good content is screen agnostic. What is your take on that? Whether the content is on the larger screen or the smaller screen, it is the content that matters. What is your take on it now, 2 years down the line?
Well, I'm one of the old generation that grew up with traditional media, and I still consume content. I don't know which screen I'm on. It's like whatever screen's in my hand or in front of my face, I'm screening content. Now I do think that, on mobile we're seeing a lot more, short form content. I think that where brands need to watch out is that there's enough noise pollution out there. So just where the mistake could be is just like, I just need to be in front of the right person at the right time with something. And that's my concern, is that the something can start to be what I like to call noise pollution. And we don't want our brands contributing to.
Susan, I spoke to Carter last year, and I'd asked him, how has creativity changed in the post-pandemic era? What is it that an agency needs to keep in mind? And he said there are two things. One is the emotional aspect, and the second is the rising inflation across the world, which is still a major issue. Brands are talking about driving value. They're talking about price sensitivity. They're talking about short-term sales. What is your creative strategy going to be to achieving these goals, and how will you navigate through these aspects?
The founder of this company was a man named Albert Lasker. He was one of the first creatives at the turn of the century, and he worked for the California Orange Produce Association. That was one of his clients, and they came and they said, how can we get people to buy California oranges instead of Florida oranges? And he said, don't talk about California and Florida oranges, just do something emotional. And so he came up with the brand name Sunkissed. He said, so we're going to call these oranges Sunkissed, and I bet you people would want a Sunkissed orange over a Florida or even a California orange.
Like they say, emotions eat logic for breakfast.
Exactly. So that was emotional, that was branding, that was what we would call a timeless idea for the brand. But then, and I'm sort of paraphrasing the dates and everything, a year later, they came back and they said, okay, we love the Sunkissed brand, but we have a problem. The oranges, the trees, they produced a lot of oranges, so we really need people to eat like 2 a day, maybe 1 a day. Can you get them to eat 1 a day? And he's like, no, we cannot get people to eat 1 orange a day. He said, but I've been thinking about this, and again, remember, you've got a client who's looking at a problem, which is I got too many oranges and they're going to rot, or a creative person or a creative, partner who says, I've been thinking about your problem. I think I can get people to use 3 oranges a day. And they're like, okay, so this is interesting because I've noticed that there's no real drink in the morning besides coffee. We can do 3 oranges will make a little glass of orange juice. So we can get people to squeeze 3 oranges to make a juice, and we'll market it as an energy drink to start your day.
Wow.
That's timely. So that's the identify a problem, which is the overproducing oranges. So that's what we have to do today. We have to say, what is timeless, which is your brand, Sunkissed, and what is timely? What is your business problem or opportunity, whether it's inflation, it's coming out of the pandemic, it's people changing the way they're buying. So you can look at both at the same time. So what we're doing is we're building the kind of thinking tools and the way of coming to the work that we're doing, which is timely and timeless. And I think it's going to work.
Timely and timeless piece of work.
Together. So the orange juice was called Sunkissed. They didn't say go do another thing that had nothing to do with Sunkissed. So,
Right. With that amazing example, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we are catching up with Group M's APAC CEO Ashutosh Srivastava, who was in India this week. He spoke about his outlook for the India market, talent acquisition and retention, and how the role of a holding company like Group M has changed.